Stotra Sata Shishimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityal Prishta Om Vishnupada Stotra Sata Shimad Bhaktivedanta Vamana Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityal Prishta Om Vishnupada Stotra Sata Shimad Bhaktivedanta Trivikrama Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Prishta Vishnupada Stotra Sata Shimad Bhakti Jivan Janardana Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Prishta Vishnupada Stotra Sata Shimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityal Prishta Vishnupada Stotra Sata Shimad Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Prishta Vishnupada Stotra Sata Shimad Bhakti Kamal Govinda Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityal Prishta Om Vishnupada Stotra Sata Shimad Bhakti Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nityal Prishta Om Vishnupada Stotra Sata Shimad Gaur Govinda Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityal Prishta Om Vishnupada Stotra Sata Shimad Bhakti Rakshakshidhar Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Prishta Vishnupada Stotra Sata Shimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srila Gaur Kishore Das Vaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Sachidananda Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Vaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Sad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Sarup Damodar Raya-ramananda-samvad Shri Gaur Parishada Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se ko Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Shri Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Shri Rajamandal Dham Ki Jai. Shri Kshetra Mandal Ki Jai. Tribun Mangala Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Chara Sampradaya Chara 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 Dham Ki Jai. Nandakuti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Samagta Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Chandrika Ashram Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Gurave Gurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namah Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Anandalilamaya Vigrahaya Mabhadivichu Visundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasa Pradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Nityananda Namastubhyam Premananda Pradayine Kalo Kalmashanashaya Jannavapataye Namaha Ajanulambita Bhujo Kanakavadato Sankirtanai Kapitaro Kamalaya Vishwambaro Dujvaro Jugadharma Palo Vande Jagat Karo Karunavatar Kanakajaladagatro Nilashonabjanetro Mrigavadavarabala Malati Kundamala Taralatarunavesho Nilapitambaresho Smarani Vritani Kunje Radhika Krishna Chandra Tavaivasmi Najivami Tvaya Vina Iti Vigyaya Radhe Tvam Nayamam Charanantike Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare. First of all, my unlimited Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of Srila Gurudev Nitya Prishta Om Vishnupada Stotra Sata Shrimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Varga, especially Shri Raya-ramananda Prabhu. His dialogue with Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu we're discussing today is the last class, and my Shiksha Gurus and dear devotees in London area, Dandavat Pranam, so Chandrika Ashram devotees. So today we'll be discussing most sacred most subjects which are normally not discussed. So even Mahaprabhu made it clear during the conversation. We'll now hear how it happened. Prabhu kahe jalun Krishna Radha Prema Tattva Shunite Chaya Dunhar Vilasa Mahatva Raya kahe Krishna hoy Edera Lalita Nirantara Kama Krida Yanara Charita. After hearing these descriptions of Krishna Tattva, Radha Tattva and Prema Tattva from Raya-ramananda-samvad Mahaprabhu replied, O Rai, I have come to understand the truths about Krishna, Radha and Prema itself. Now I wish to hear the glories of their playful, loving exchanges. Raya-ramananda replied, Lord Krishna is Dhira Lalit Nayak. That is the term of Rasa Siddhanta. And he is ever devoted to lusty affairs, Kama Krida. expert in relishing loving exchanges, ever youthful, clever at joking, and always carefree. These are the qualities of Dhira Lalita Nayaka, a hero controlled by his beloved. When the hero is symptomized as being completely favorable to the heroine and unable to remain apart from her, he is called Dhira Lalita Anukula Nayaka. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami is saying, he who is expert in the art of love, ever youthful, clever at joking, happy-go-lucky, and subjugated by the love of his sweethearts is called Dhira Lalita Nayaka. So, many qualities of Krishna, one of them is Dhira Lalita. So, Radhika, at the end of her exhibition of her man, she becomes Swadhina Bhartrika, or fully victorious, fully controlling her beloved. So then Krishna's essence as Dhira Lalita Nayaka becomes fully manifest. Pujapat Madhusudan Maharaj explained to us that in Radha Lalita Madhava deities we can see Lalita Madhava, his Dhira Lalita Madhava. So Lalita Madhava's head is tilted a little bit like this, so to the utmost. So when he's fully satisfied, one is fully satisfied, one reclines like this on the chair, on the sofa. So Krishna, when he's fully satisfied, he does like this. His head is back. When does he do so? When he is fully controlled by Srimati Radhika. That's what he's desiring to do. When he's fully controlled by Srimati Radhika, then he becomes fully Dhira Lalita, and Radhika becomes fully Swardhina Bhartrika. She is fully controlling her beloved. So, Ratri Dina Kunja Krira Kare Radha Sangi Kaishara Vyasa Sapal Kaila Krira Rangi. Day and night Sri Krishna continuously sports, jokes and enjoys in various ways with Sri Radha in the Kunjas. In this way, through his amorous diversions, he makes his youth successful. The meaning of amorous play, Krira Ranga, in the present context is Prema Lila, pastimes of love which are ongoing, meaning whenever the opportunity arises. So, the Leelas are going on continuously with no break. So, here Gurudev is explaining what every moment means. So if we take the time in this material estimation, the moment and moment, another moment, these are like accomplished entities, right? But in spiritual world, one moment and next moment are fully connected. There is no break. No break. So Gurudev is saying, if the meaning were taken at every moment, then the sequence in the flow of the Leelas would be disrupted, giving no chance for Krishna to perform his cow grazing and other pastimes. So pastime follows the pastime, and everything goes without break. These are the Leelas, are essential limbs of the principal pastimes of meeting with the Brajagopis. So how come Krishna is going cow grazing and simultaneously is meeting the gopis? Difficult to understand, but time in spiritual world is fully eternal. It has no present, past, future, and there is no break in moment after moment like this. So in this material world, if we watch cinema, right, there's like in old tradition there are what are those? Frames, yeah. So frame after frame. So but in material there is no such division, frame after frame. It goes simultaneously and wholly, in a whole way. Holistically. So, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu says, Sri Krishna impudently boasted of his amorous escapades. This is very sacred. Impudently boasted of his amorous escapades of the previous night in front of the Sakhis, making Sri Radha close her eyes out of embarrassment. At that moment he painted some charming, playful Makari, or dolphin, carrier of Cupid, Cupid is carried by dolphins. So Makar is dolphins he's painting upon the breasts of Radhika, and thus manifested the pinnacle of cleverness. So he is Dhira Lalita. He's always invasive. He's invading new and new ways, completely unseen, unheard of. Prabhu kahe, oi ha hoi, age kahayar ka raya kahe, iyavai buddhi gati nahiyar. So here again Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, continue, go on. But Raya is saying, Vai gati nahiyar, I have no intelligence to tell more. I have no capacity to tell more. Sriman Mahaprabhu said, whatever you have said regarding the loving exchanges between Radha and Krishna is alright, but please say something more. Raya-ramananda replied, oh Lord, my intelligence cannot penetrate this subject any further. But there is another subject stage called Prema Vilasa Vivarta. So this is the highest manifestation of love of Shri Radha and Krishna. Very, very, very sacred. However, Raya is saying, I do not know if such a description will be to your satisfaction or not. So, saying this, Raya-ramananda began to sing his own composition. So, that composition was so exalted that Mahaprabhu, as soon as he heard, he covered Raya-ramananda's mouth. Not because of his undesire to hear it, no, he desired, but he covered his mouth to stress that it is so sacred. It is not for ordinary people. This is not for ordinary sadhakas even, you know. It's Thakuraj's arrangement, not so many people came. And I'm simultaneously happy and unhappy. Yes. So Shri Raya-ramananda started to sing his own song. Pahile hi raganaya na bhange bhela anudina bardhala avadina gela na so ramana na hamaramani dunno mana mano bhava peshalajani hey saki say sabha prema kahini Kanutame kahabi vichurala jani na konjali tuti na konjaluna dunka milane madhya tapanchaban abasohi viraga tunu beli duti supurunka prema ki aichanariti. Lamenting in separation, Srimati Radhika is remembering her first meeting with Krishna. He's saying, alas, before we ever met, we first experienced an initial attachment to each other, instigated by an exchange of glances. That is called Purva Raga. Purva means preceding, coming before. In just a blink of the eyelid, without a moment's delay, an emotion named Raga, or driving attachment, immediately arose between us. See, this Raga is the essence of the loving exchange. Vijapat Madhusudan Maharaj, our Srila Gurudev also, they were speaking to us about this Raga. That is level of prema. And it appears when hero and heroine are exchanging glances. So then the Raga grows, and desire to meet grows. Thus compelling love grew day by day, and in no time at all, in just a few days, it developed so much that there was no limit to it. That attachment flowed without stop and continued to increase. Chaitanya Charitamrita says, in the beginning, when Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains the confidential reasons for Mahaprabhu's appearance, he's speaking about Radhika's bhava and her essence, her mood. Shri Radha's love extends everywhere, leaving no space for it to expand any further. Still, it continuously increases every second. That is the principle of spiritual world. Everything is ever increasing. No limits. Kaviraj Goswami continues, Krishna is always saying, my sweetness and Radha's prema increase every moment, and neither knows defeat. That raga, or affection, arises in both of us and grows to unlimited measurement, not possible to measure. So, Radha wants to give unlimited happiness to Krishna, and vice versa. Krishna wants to give unlimited happiness to Radha. So, what does it lead to? It leads to bhava, to the appearance of bhava, which is called viparita. Viparita means exchange. So they're exchanging their roles. So Radhika thinking she is Krishna, and Krishna is thinking she is Radha. So this level is called Prema Vilasa Vivarta. Vivarta means, generally it's called contrary way. While Gurudev was speaking on Sri Jagadananda Pandit's book Prema Vivarta, which we were discussing in Serbia extensively, like half the book we discussed. So he was saying counterclockwise love. So Prema Vilasa Vivarta means counterclockwise love. And Sri Jagadananda Pandit also explains this. He's deliberating upon this in his book. It's an amazing book, actually. Jagadananda Pandit is speaking out of his heart without rules and regulations. He exchanges subjects very spontaneously. Sometimes he remembers his pastimes with Mahaprabhu, his childhood pastimes. Jagai, he was Jagai. Jagai, there was Nitai Gauranga, there was Gadai Gauranga, and Jagai Gauranga also. So they were studying together, so many pastimes together. And all of a sudden he stops and starts giving directions to devotees, giving instructions. And all of a sudden he starts deliberating upon this Vivarta. So the variety of Vivarta gives rise to Adhiruddha Mahabhava. So, for example, what is Adhiruddha? When Radha sees anything reminding her of Krishna, for example, the black tamal tree, the trunk of black tamal tree, immediately she embraces because she envisions Krishna. Upon hearing a portion of Raya-ramananda-samvad song, Sriman Mahaprabhu became maddened in prem. Arising, Mahaprabhu covered Raya-ramananda's mouth with his own hand. In this song, Raya-ramananda reveals Radhika's visions in the states of separation. The raga described as the embodiment of Sri Radha Krishna's very nature. Neither Krishna, the lover par excellence, nor Sri Radha, the preeminent beloved, is the cause for this raga. Rather, this raga is self-propelling. You see what? It's completely amazing, because there is no reason for prema to arise. Even Krishna and Radha themselves are not the reason. So prema is something between them, which evolves and develops completely on, what's that called? Unlimitedly one thing, unpredictably. You cannot say what will be next. You say, in this material world, when we speak about development, so this is A, B, C, D, some movement, like point 1, point 2, point 3. But there's, you cannot catch. That is why you cannot get bhakti by learning. That is why you cannot get bhakti by sukriti even. You can bhakti only by what? By greed. And that greed comes from association from hearing. So we put that parallel how prema acts in this world and how it acts in that world. In both, prema is not dependent on anything, but we hear here that it's not dependent even on Radha and Krishna themselves. It's evolving spontaneously and independently. Prema is fully independent, even upon Radha and Krishna. That's so amazing. This condition is unprecedented and undescribable because within it, one directly and simultaneously experiences all of the countless types of happiness and distress that are experienced both in meeting and in separation, respectively. So, simultaneously meeting and meeting in separation and separation in meeting. Once Radhika was sitting on the lap of Krishna on the banks of Prema Sarovar. There is one lake, very, very sacred. We visited. It's next to Varshana. In Srila Gurudev's time, we were having a camp in Varshana, and Gurudev was going there in the first place, just a few kilometers from Varshana. So amazing, amazing lake, which manifested from tears of Shri Radha and Krishna. So in that place, Radhika was sitting on Krishna's lap, and they were having Prema Vilas. And all of a sudden, Madhumangala, Priyanarma Sakya, Madhumangala, very, very dear friend of Krishna, noticed a bumblebee who was hovering just in front of Srimati Radhika's, some say feet, some say face. Gurudev says face in his book. So the Madhukar bumblebee, Madhusudan also, that's bumblebee, Madhusudan, was thinking that it's a new flower. Because, Krishna is compared to bumblebee actually because he wants new flowers, new gopis, new tastes of prema. But he was thinking that that's a new flower, and he wanted to take some nectar. So Madhumangal noticed that and with his stick chased the bumblebee away. And he said, Madhusudan has gone. So when Radha heard that, she was starting crying. She started crying because she started trembling. She was afraid that Krishna is gone. She heard that Madhusudan means Krishna, not only bumblebee. So Madhusudan is gone, and she started crying. And gradually she lost consciousness. So seeing her in that condition, Krishna also started crying. They started crying and they both lost consciousness. After some time, after they came back from the divine swoon, they came back and they looked at each other and exclaimed, he exclaimed, Ha Priya, and she exclaimed, Ha Prananath. So they started to shed tears. When in those conditions, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for example, he was coming back from that state, he was shedding tears when he was in that half-conscious state, but he was able to speak, he was able to, semi-conscious state. So then he was crying. That's the symptom after return from completely internal condition into half external, so the tears. So they started crying and crying and crying. They were crying out torrents of tears profusely, and finally that Kunda came about. So that Kunda is Prema Sarovara, from Radhika's Prema, and Srila Gurudev was always stressing that it's Madanakya Mahabhava. It's Radhika's highest Prema. Therefore Krishna decided, Radhika feels separation even in my presence. So what should I do? I should leave Vrindavan now. Because after I leave Vrindavan, then Radhika will be meeting with me even in separation. So when you're in separation, you're thinking of that person all the time. You experience meeting, because viraha means separation, no? V means special, and raha means rahasya, means meeting. So how special meeting is included in the separation? Raha. See. So that's one example. Jiva Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Gurudev is quoting so many things here. Unfortunately, we have no time. But here another verse from Ujjvala Nilamani is quoted further on. O king of mad elephants, Krishna, who dallies in Govardhan's love bowers, there is an accomplished artist of the name Sringara Rasa Kamadeva. Upon the fire generated from the heart of the emotions coming from both you and Shirada, he has slowly melted the shellac-like hearts of you both and made them one. Then mixing that which profuse quantities of kumkuma with of your ever-fresh driving love, he is painting an astonishing picture upon the inner walls of the grand temple of the universe. So when an artist wants to get red paint, he burns shellac. So out of the burnt shellac, red paint is coming. So in that same way, as it says in this verse, the hearts of Radha and Krishna are melted and they became one, completely one. Like what's that called? Alloy? Alloy, is it?
Alloy.
Alloy, as an alloy.
Like a mix of metals.
Mix of metals. So the mix of two hearts, like burnt shellac, they became one. So therefore Radhika is thinking that she is Krishna and Krishna is thinking that she is Radha. This is called Viparita Bhava, or the inability of identify who is who in the ecstasy of prema. Once when Radha and Krishna were tasting the mutual sweetness, their bodies became beautifully decorated with the fully blazing symptoms of rapture, or Uddipta Sattvika Bhavas. To paint a palace red and wishing to delight everyone, an artist places shellac in the fire and prepares an extraordinary shining mixture by completely blending the melted shellac with the red dye. In just the same way, the artist of the personified amorous mellow places mellow. The artist of the personified amorous mellow, means that is prema, who is independent of both participants even. She places the shellac of Radha's and Krishna's hearts, which are completely full of Mahabhava, into the fire of prema and slowly melts them into one. That's how it happens. That's how the raga is ever fresh.
Never heard of shellac before.
You see in Mahabharata, Duryodhana wanted to burn Pandavas in the shellac house. It's a thin building material. Yes, I'm not sure about it. When it's burnt and mixed with red, then red dye, strong red dye is manifest. So Shri Krishna, intoxicated with prema, sports with Radha in Giri Govardhan's secluded caves and bowers, Giri Govardhan. By the heart of the fire of their emotions, perspiration is coming as Sattvika Bhava, ecstatic transformation. Radha and Krishna's shellac-like hearts have been melted. That's how it manifests. This indeed is the intrinsic nature of Madanakya Mahabhav. So, Prabhu kahe sadhya vastu ravadi se hai tomara prasade iha janiro nishchai. Mahaprabhu said, O Rai, that is sufficient. You have described the topmost limit of sadhya vastu, of the highest goal, or the ultimate, object of attainment. By your mercy, Mahaprabhu here reveals his humanity. I have understood the different gradations of the subject matter. However, without the appropriate sadhana, one cannot attain the rare sadhya. So here Mahaprabhu is requesting Raya-ramananda to explain this sadhana. So this part is called In the Guidance of the Sakhis. of the gopis. So we hear in a popular way that, we have to be following the Sakis, the gopis, Vraja gopis, Vraja ramanis. So how to do that? These pastimes of Radha and Krishna are extremely private. They are beyond the understanding of those associates of the Lord who have taken shelter of different other rasas. Srila Gurudeva is commenting. Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya. So they are extremely rare, and these leelas come only with the jurisdiction of Srimati Radhika Sakis. Hey, Yadavar Prabhu ki jai. Nice to see you. So, only the sadhakas who remain under the guidance of those within Sakhi Bhava may enter the domain of the ultimate attainment, rendering service to Shishi, Radha and Krishna within the groves of Vrindavan. So, we're coming gradually to the conclusion of Raya-ramananda-samvad. We've just heard about Prema Vilasa Vivarta, and now we're talking about Sakya Anugatya, how to be in the association of the sadhus, so Sakis, the sadhus in the Sakhi Bhava, and Prema Vilasa Vivarta being the highest goal, the sadhya, and Sakya Anugatya being sadhana. So now Mahaprabhu will hear from Raya-ramananda about the sadhana. Govinda Lilamrita is saying, Shri Radha Krishna's bhavas are self-manifest and limited and composed of complete ecstasy. Even so, not even one iota of rasa can be experienced without the Sakis, just as Ishvara, the Supreme Controller, is never manifest without his spiritual potencies or opulences. Therefore, what knower of rasa will try to enter these pastimes without taking the shelter and guidance of the lotus feet of the Sakis? So, following the Sakis, how to follow? Who are they? Where are they? We can hear about them. We can hear about them from someone who is fully immersed in their bhava. So, we were speaking about prema just now. So prema is fully independent. The most surprising, astonishing, prema is not dependent even upon Radha and even upon Krishna. Prema is ever existent and self-manifest. So Gurudev is giving commentary here about Shringara Rasa and Prema, which is in Shringara Rasa. Prema and the Sakis are not separate entities. Indeed, the development of Prema hinders on their participation. Because, that is the nature of Anuraga. The raga which exists in their hearts. Remember the example with the red glass. Glass is initially red, so it's ever existing in their hearts, and it's very, very spontaneous. That raga drives them somewhere, carries them somewhere, and they don't know also where. So therefore it's not dependent on them also. So the Sakis are prema swarupini, meaning that they are composed of prema, and they are also embodiments of prema, as well as expansions of the bliss potency Hladini Shakti. See, they are one with Hladini Shakti. That's the general potency. So they are within the flow. They are within the flow of Hladini Shakti. Like lust is the ever-permeating principle of this material world, and even a person who doesn't know he's carried away by lust. It's all Bhagavad Gita is about that. So what is that force which makes you be driven, yes, aside without your knowledge, even without your conscious desire, So Krishna says that is lust or Arjuna. That's material world. But on the contrary, spiritual world, prema drives them mad, and they don't know where they're going in that prema. And it's completely unpredictable, unprecedented. We'll just describe the Leela at Prema Sarovara, where Radhika was on the lap of Krishna, and then they ended up crying and crying after being unconscious, and then the whole lake arose from their tears. The nature of the Sakyas is unparalleled. Raya-ramananda is continuing, and indescribable. Never does the thought of finding their own happiness in the ultimate meeting, in the intimate meeting with Shri Krishna, ever appear within their minds. It's very essential. So amongst all the associates of Radha, of Krishna, amongst all the associates of Krishna, only those in Madhurya Bhava are fully selfless. That may sound strange. Wait a minute. All the residents of the spiritual world, the showed, the abode, they're all selfless. And for sure, in a general sense, but in the Rasika sense, in the very subtle sense, the gopis are having that quality of being able to give at every moment Krishna all of themselves, all of their hearts, all the parts of their bodies. Remember yesterday we were explaining like golden vines which cover the trunk of Tamal tree completely, so you can say from the distance it's golden, but actually it's covered by the love of the gopis. So, and also Krishna covers all the parts of gopis' bodies. The happiness they experience by arranging the solitary meeting of Shri Radhika and Krishna, but they accept as being millions and millions times greater than what they would experience by being with Krishna directly, you see. So Radhika is more happy when she arranges for the Sakya's meeting with Krishna even. Remember, when Lalita was, it's Lalita Kunda, if you remember. So Lalita was making a garland for Krishna, and every time she was not satisfied in making a new garland. And then Narada noticed that and said, "Oh, Krishna is just nearby, you can come to him and measure the garland size on him. Why not?" I say yes. So they ended up swinging together on a swing that was all desire by Narada. So he wanted to see Lalita Krishna on the swing, so finally his desire was fulfilled and they were swinging on the swing, and Radhika took his veena and Lalita Krishna ki jai ho, Lalita Krishna ki jai ho, and was walking everywhere. So then Radhika heard, and what? So she was seemingly in jealous anger, but actually inside she was so happy. She's so happy when she sees all the others engaged in amorous pastimes with Krishna, because they are nothing but kaya vyuha, the expansions of her body. So that's one of the pastimes, many others. So Govinda Lamrita says further on, the Sakhis of Vraja, similar to Shri Radha, the essential parts of Hladini, Vraja Kumada Chandra's Hladini, or pleasure potency, knows as Shri Radhika, who is the personification of his internal energy. She is the wish-fulfilling creeper of Prema, and the other gopis are that vines, buds, leaves and flowers. Manjaris are the buds, we know. So when the nectar of Krishna's pastimes is showered on the supremely blissful Shri Radhika, all the gopis experience the pleasure 100 times more than if they were showered themselves. Here we go. It says very clearly here. This is not at all surprising. So Raya-ramananda continues, although the Sakhis do not possess even the slightest desire to enjoy themselves with Krishna directly, still Radhika makes an effective effort that enables them to meet with him. See? Sakhis are not selfish, they want Radhika to meet with Krishna. But Radhika wants them to meet, and she experiences even more joy when they do. She sends the gopis to Krishna, employing a great variety of clever ruses, as well as inspiring his heart with a desire to meet them. At such times she enjoys a happiness 10 million times greater than with the happiness she experienced when directly meeting with him. 10 million. 10 million. So much. Since the internal consciousness of Shri Radhika and the gopis is pervaded by Vishuddha Sattva of pure spiritual existence, Srimati Radhika always remains engaged in continuously bestowing happiness upon the gopis and vice versa. They are ever absorbed in nourishing or expanding sentiments of ras. Upon seeing the mutual exchanges, Shri Krishna becomes most satisfied. The prema of the gopis is completely natural. There is not even the slightest scent of profane lust within them. Due to its resembling mundane lusty affairs, this prema is often called kama or lust. Well, this is spiritual kama, kamatmika. So kama is the part of their, the nature of the raga is kama. So like that red glass, remember. Even though the kama of the gopis and the kama of this material world bear a resemblance to each other, factually the difference between them is like that of heaven and hell. That's it. So sometimes hell resembles heaven, you know. Some common features are there. So in heaven you stay long, in hell you stay long. Right. In hell there's fire, also fire of whatever, beautiful, some beautiful fires are in
Effulgence.
yes, in heaven, etc. So some sensuous activities in heaven, some sensuous activities in hell, burning, etc., etc. But this vast difference. In this aprakrita kama, or transcendental lust, there is not even a trace of desire for one's own happiness. Rather, the soul desires an abiding, continuous thirst to bestow happiness upon one's beloved. Thus, this kama is vishuddha, transcendently pure prema. The kama of the material world is self-centered, performed by one's own enjoyment, insignificant, detestable, and the path to hell. That's it. Yes, yes, out of love, and Bhakti stress. Stress is only out of love of Krishna. They are engaging, Radhika is engaging other gopis to meet Krishna. So, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu says the prema of the beautiful maidens of Raj is known as kam, or lust. However, by constitution that prema has no mundane lust in its makeup. It is for this reason that Uddhava and the other devotees of the Lord also desire this prema. So it's attractive, it's completely pure. Not only Uddhava, Lord Shiva, Brahma, Narada, so many others. Lakshmi. So again, appears similar but vast difference. Kama is the desire to give pleasure to one's own senses. The topmost sentiment of the gopis is called prema, and its only intention is to give pleasure to Krishna. These gopis never have any desire for their own enjoyment. All of their intimate meetings with Krishna are only for the purpose of giving him pleasure. Now, the gopis are singing Gopi Gita. They're envisioning Krishna traversing paths of Vrindavan, stepping on sharp stones, stepping on thorns, and they're saying, Yatte sujata charanam buraham staneshu bhuta shanai priyadadhimahi karkasheshu tenarta vimata sitadvyata tena kim svit kurpadi bir brahmati dhir bravat ayushamna. So, those wonderful lotus feet of Krishna are so gentle, and we're so much disturbed by the thoughts that they're stepping on the tips, on the sharp stones, they're stepping on the thorns. I want to put them on our breasts, and when we when we experience that desire, then we're very worried because our breasts are so hard and his gentle lotus feet are so delicate. So, one who has developed greed to attain the gopis' nectarian prema completely abandons the regulatory principles of Vedic life. Here is it. The end of it. The end of rules and regs. No more adherence to anything mundane, no more adherence to anything forceful, no more adherence to anything which is binding your free expression of pure prema, as well as the various material goals such as attaining residence in the heavenly planets. Rather, the devotee completely surrenders into Krishna and performs exclusive bhajan to him. Those devotees who are inclined towards the path of Raganuga Bhakti or spontaneous devotional service adopt the sentiments of Anugatya, or remaining under the guidance of superiors. They perform service to Krishna, and in the holy abode of Vrindavan they attain Vrindavana Vrajendranandana Krishna. Whoever accepts one of the moods of the various eternal associates of Rajamandala and performs bhajan, following in the moods, after receiving an appropriate spiritual body, achieves the service to Krishna and Vraj. Here we go. This is Raganuga Bhakti. If you meet Raganuga, Rasika Vaishnava, most successful. That is so deep. I heard Didi was saying that if one meets Rasika Vaishnava as Guru, then just by his grace, if one is not even mature yet and practices like in a normal way, then by his grace he can be born in Vrindavan very easily, next lifetime. Just, it's a bad word automatically, but anyway, it's like only by that, I mean to say. Only by the fact that your Guru is set so high, then he can make you born in Vrindavan next lifetime. And not only be born in Vrindavan, but experience that wonderful association of like-minded devotees. And if there's Guru Nishta, then definitely that same Guru will be again with you. Chakudan Dilajay, Janma Janma Prabhu say, those things will be reality. Srimad Bhagavatam is saying, personified Vedas praying, O Lord, greatly learned sages and yogis, having conquered the life as, mind and senses by strictly practicing the mystic yoga system and worshipping the impersonal Brahman effulgence, have ultimately achieved the position of nirvana, liberation. But even your enemies have attained that position. There's nothing special in nirvana yogis achieve. Even enemies of Krishna, demons, simply by thinking of you in enmity and always be desiring your ruination. Shri Radhika and your eternal beloveds place your nectar-filled lotus feet on the firm breasts, being attracted and bound by the beauty of your supremely soft, rounded, elongated and nicely decorated arms, which are like the king of serpents. We have also tasted the nectar of your lotus feet in exactly the same way as have your eternal beloveds, the gopis, by following in their footsteps. Here we go. These are Shrutichari gopis praying. So they all became gopis. They all went to Rasa Lila, and they are mentioning the Anugatya in this prayer. Some examples Raya-ramananda is giving. So Samadrisha in this verse means to accept Anugatya, guidance of the Vraja gopis, and to perform bhajan following their moves. That's it. Srimad Bhagavatam, Shukadeva Goswami is saying to Parikshit, Bhagavan Krishna, the son of Mother Yashoda, is easily attained by those devotees engaged in spontaneous loving service, but he is not as easily accessible to the performers of severe austerities who remain attached to the body or to mental speculators. So again, one has to become pure devotee. Only on the path of Ragatmika Bhakti, or spontaneous devotional service, does one achieve the service of Rajendrananda and Krishna in Vraj. The same achievement is not possible on the path of Vaidhi Bhakti, or regulative devotional service. Here we go. Janma koti sukritar nalabhyate. Thousands of lifetimes. Koti means 100 millions. Of sukritis, building temples, printing books, all those things, will not lead. Only greed for association and association. Of some Rasika Bhakta who has the mood of the gopis in the heart. It's so rare, very, very rare. So, again, this verse is there, which was the key verse for Madhurya Rasa. 2 nights before we were hearing Nayam Shriyanga Unitantarate Prasada Sayoshitam Nalidaganda Rucham Kutonya Rasotsavesya Bujadanda Grihita Kanta Labdha Shisham Yodagad Vraja Sundarinam. At the time of the festival of Rasa Lila, Bhagavan Krishna enfolded his arms around the necks of the gopis in Vraja and fulfilled all their desires. So that mercy he gave them is not attainable for the residents of heaven, demigoddesses whose bodily aroma is like that of the lotus, and what to speak of these mundane ladies of this world. But ladies and gentlemen of this world, can easily attain Gopi Bhava. Easily. It's not attainable for the demigods even. So, after hearing this most unprecedented Rasa Siddhanta, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became overjoyed and embraced Raya-ramananda. Each embraced the neck of the other, and both of them began to weep. They passed the entire night in that manner, absorbed in discussions and overwhelmed by ecstatic prema. In the morning they departed, as to tend to their respective duties. When it became time to part from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Raya-ramananda caught hold of the Lord's lotus feet and spoke with extreme humility, saying, "O Lord, you have come here just to bestow your mercy upon me. Therefore, please stay here for at least 10 days and purify my polluted mind. Other than you, there is no one who can deliver this jiva, and you alone can give love of Krishna." Upon hearing Raya-ramananda's humble and love-filled words, Mahaprabhu said, "Having heard about your good qualities from the mouth of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, I have come here to hear about Krishna from your lotus mouth, and thus purify my mind. Now I am seeing your glories, which before I had only heard about." So Mahaprabhu is still glorifying Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who had taken him to the lotus feet of Raya-ramananda, and calling himself Mayavadi Sannyasi, expressions of humility. So, "I will not be able to leave you throughout my whole life. We will remain together in Jagannath Puri, where we shall spend our time happily, completely delighting by speaking Krishna Katha." So Mahaprabhu directed Raya-ramananda to Jagannath Puri. He told him to resign from his government service there in Madras and go to Jagannath Puri. So since then, after Mahaprabhu returned from his tour of South India, they were together in Jagannath Puri and always discussing Harikatha. So many nights Raya-ramananda and Mahaprabhu spent together, and there's one famous part, questions and answers. Mahaprabhu asking questions and Raya-ramananda giving answers. "Prabhu ka hai kono vidya vidyamadi sar, Raya ka hai Krishna bhakti vina vidya nahi ar." Mahaprabhu asked, "Of all types of knowledge, which is the most important?" Ramananda Raya replied, "Krishna bhakti is the essence of all knowledge. Apart from this, there is no other type of knowledge." Here you go. Kirti gana madhya jiver kona bada kirti, Krishna bhakta baliya yan hara haya khyati. Mahaprabhu then asked, "Out of all glorious activities of the jiva, which is the greatest?" Raya-ramananda replied, "To be called a devotee of Lord Krishna is the topmost glory of the jiva." Huge commentary of Gurudev. What is the greatest treasure? "Asampatti ramadya jiver kon sampatti gani, Radha Krishna premayandra sei badadhani." Mahaprabhu asked, "Of all the different varieties of riches, which is the greatest treasure of the jiva?" Ramananda Raya replied, "Whoever possesses the wealth of prema to Shri Radha Krishna is the wealthiest." So Radha Krishna prema is the highest wealth. So what is the greatest distress? "Dukkha madhya kona dukkha haya gurutar, Krishna bhakta viharavina dukkha nahi dekhiya par." Of all kinds of unhappiness, which is the most distressful? Ramananda Raya replied, "Separation from the devotee of Shri Krishna is truly the greatest misery. There is no suffering worse than this." So, bhakti and the bhaktas is the highest value, and therefore everything is coming from that, everything is aiming towards that. Who is truly liberated? "Mukta madhya kona jiva mukta karimani, Krishna prema yandra seya mukta shiramani." Mahaprabhu said, "Out of all liberated persons, which jiva should be accepted as truly liberated?" Ramananda Raya replied, "He who has prema for Shri Krishna is the crown jewel of all liberated persons." What is the greatest song? "Gana madhya kona gana jiver nija dharma, Radha Krishna prema kele ei gitar marma." Mahaprabhu asked, "Among many songs, Which is the natural activity of the living entity? Ramananda replied, songs that describe Radha and Krishna's love-filled pastimes, prema keli lila, are the vital core of all Gita Govinda and all the other literatures. What is the most beneficial activity? Shreya madhya kona shreya jiver hoya sar, Krishna bhakta sangha vina shreya nahiyar. Mahaprabhu asked, out of all beneficial activities, which is the most favorable for living entities? Ramananda replied, there is no pursuit more auspicious than to associate with Sri Krishna's devotees. Who should the living entity remember at every moment? Kannar smaran jivar karibe anukshana, Kannar smarana jivar karibe anukshana, Krishna nama guna, lila parada smaran. Whom should the jiva remember at every moment? Raya-ramananda replied, the principal objects to keep in mind are the Krishna's nama, rupa, guna, lila, names, forms, qualities, pastimes. What is the most important meditation? Dhyeya madhya jiver kartavya kona dhyana, Radha Krishna padambuja dhyana pradhana. Out of all types of meditation, which one should the jiva engage in as his actual religious duty? Raya-ramananda saying, the most important meditation is to contemplate the lotus feet of Shri Radha and Krishna. Where should one reside? Sarvatyaji jiver kartavya kanha vas, Shri Vrindavan bhumiyandra nitya lila ras. Mahaprabhu asked, where should the jiva reside, abandoning everything? Raya-ramananda replied, one should live in Vrajabhumi Vrindavan, where the Rasa Lila is eternally performed, eternally, not yesterday, but eternally, eternally. It's very essential. What is the best topic to hear? Shravana madhya jiver kona shreshta shravana, Radha Krishna prema kili karna rasayana. Out of all topics to hear, which topic is the best for the living entity? Hearing about the amorous affairs of Radha and Krishna, which is like a medicinal tonic for the ears, is the best of all. What is the most worshipable object? Upasya ramadhya kona upasya pradhan, shreshta upasya yugal, Radha Krishna nam. Amongst the world's all the worshipable object, which is the best? The holy names of Radha and Krishna are the chief worshipable object. The holy names, first of all the names. The deities also, but the names are most prominent. So we have to serve the name, not chew it as a chewing gum. Not possible, it's offensive. So we have to be serving, yes. Properly, timely, with no distraction, service to the holy name. Yes. Keeping not only externally, like bead bag always clean and all those things, but keeping your mind clean. In Bhajana Rahasya, in the first, what's it called? Yama, there is prescription how to chant the holy name. Nama samharanam shaucham, Nama samharanam shaucham, Nama samharanam shaucham. In that verse, Shri Sanatana Goswami Hari Bhakti Vilas is explaining. Nama samharanam shaucham monam. Nama samharanam shaucham, one has to be pure, clean. Cham monam, one has to be silent, not speaking prajalpa. One has to practice Panchanga Diksha, the 5 elements of Diksha, talking about Diksha mantras. And especially Nam Bhajan, chanting of the holy name should be done in a very regulated manner, a good amount in the morning. I notice devotees don't do that very often. They do, they eat, drink something, talk, read newspaper, doing mundane activities. They have to chant in the morning, chant. You finish at least 16 rounds, okay, go, then read some book. Don't read newspaper, read book. Then go to work. That's the proper sadhana, otherwise you get mundane.
Thakurji every morning.
Ah, yes.
Most people.
Yes. No, Thakurji, but good if some books in the Thakurji.
Yes.
It's real Thakurji. Some, some audio recordings. Nice. It's very good. What to do? Yes, this is like Thakurji. Has to attend. But it's good if we can, fill him up with some positive spiritual essence and contents. So yes, the holy names of Shri Radha and Krishna, chief worshipable object. I will deliberate a little bit about. Mukti bhukti vanchaye kanna duhar gati sthavar deha deva deva yache avasthiti. Prabhu, what is the fate of those who desire liberation and of those who desire sense gratification? Raya-ramananda is saying, those who desire liberation and those who desire sense gratification achieve the bodies of non-moving species and demigods respectively. Liberation, they go into stones, and karmis who do yagyas, they go to heavenly planets, become demigods. Now, very nice question about the crows and the swans. Arasagya kakachushe jnana nimba phale rasagya kokila chaya premamrita mukula, not swans, cuckoos. Impersonalists or Brahmagyanis who are devoid of knowledge of transcendental mellows are like the crows that continue to eat the bitter and tasteless fruit of the neem tree, whereas those who enjoy the mellows of bhakti rasa, rasikas, are like the cuckoos who taste the soft and fragrant buds of the mango of Prema. So certainly mango is sweeter than the neem. But crows, they like neem, and that's the sweetest sweet, rasagula. But how to explain to a crow what is the mango? I'm not attracted. So therefore, karmis are much better than gyanis, because gyanis deviated so much from bhakti. They're actually abhaktas. Karmis can be appreciative towards bhakti. So we can work with them very nicely. But if somebody is spoiled by, especially Mayavad philosophy, very difficult to get him out. Very difficult. Really very difficult. I used to be an impersonalist. All my friends were of that category. I know that public. Very abhaktic, very stubborn.
Like dry soil. Nothing grows.
Not even soil, sand.
Sand. Yes, like dry sand.
What can you put in the sand? Nothing will grow. Sahara, So, the unfortunate empiric speculators simply experience the happiness of dry, tasteless empirical knowledge. Their hearts are very, cruel actually. Hard, like thunderbolt. Remember Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya in the beginning? You have to study Vedanta. Or Ramanujacharya's teacher, remember? Was his Prakash, what's his name? Yadava Prakash. He was commenting that verse that Krishna's lotus feet, I think?
Not the eyes.
The eyes of Krishna,
like
Pundarikaksha, are like
the
bottom of the monkey. So, Kapyasa. So then Ramanujacharya explained that that's the lotus because it's connected to the sun. Somehow I don't forget, I cannot remember the metaphor, the exact metaphor, but lotus, which makes the sun, I would say, which is
it's rising from
yes,
from the mountain,
from the water and supported by the sun anyway. So that is pertaining to the lotus. So that the impersonalist could not take, oh, you're better than me, better meanings. The meanings is direct. The bottom of a monkey. That's it. Cannot see more. Because hearts are dry. So very difficult to deal with them. And transcendentalists herefore compared to cuckoos. So the final evening came. That evening when Ramananda Rai came to meet Sriman Mahaprabhu, they discussed topics of Krishna for some time. After this, Raya-ramananda caught hold of the lotus feet of the Lord and prayed with great humility. You have manifested within my heart the truths about Krishna Radha, Prema, Rasa and varieties of pastimes. This is exactly how Sri Narayana imparted the Vedas to Lord Brahma, the Super Soul, or the Supreme Controller within everyone's heart. Exactly, that same way, from heart to heart, Brahma to Narada, heart to heart, Krishna to Brahma, Brahma to Narada. So, Brahma to Vyasa also, what I'm saying, Vyasa to Narada, Brahma to Vyasa, Vyasa to Narada, that's what I meant. The Super Soul, or the Supreme Controller within everyone's heart, always speaks internally, not externally, thus granting a manifestation of the desired object within. This is general practice. As Shvetashvatara Upanishad describes, Bhagavan manifested and compiled the Vedas which were disclosed within the heart of Brahma. I accept the shelter of that Bhagavan Sri Krishna who is the beginning of creation, inspired and manifested Vedic knowledge within the heart of Brahma, and who manifests knowledge of the self Atma Buddhi. So that wonderful comparison was given by Raya-ramananda. So wonderful prayers he is offering here also, quotes. Substantial commentary is followed by Gurudev. O Lord, I have but one more doubt remaining within my heart. Please be merciful upon me and reconcile this. So then Mahaprabhu revealed his internal form to Raya-ramananda. That was the form Mahaprabhu never revealed to anyone else. Remember when Mahaprabhu was in Navadvip, he was exhibiting many different forms, like incarnations, during Mahaprakash Lila in the house of Srivas Thakur. So he manifested as Varaha, he manifested as Rama, Mukunda, what's his name? What's his name? Murari Gupta. He manifested as Ramachandra to him, also to him as Varaha, etc. Many.
Chaturvirja.
Yes, Chaturbhuj. And Shadbhuj, he revealed his Shadbhuj form to Nityananda, etc., etc., etc. But he never revealed his Radha and Krishna forms. So Raya-ramananda became that person who was the witness for that. So he's saying, oh please be merciful and reconcile this. I have one doubt. At first I saw your form as a sannyasi, but now I'm seeing your dark complexion formed as a cowherd boy, Shyama Sundar. And also before you I see a golden doll, by whose golden bodily effulgence your entire body appears now covered. So that's what was seen by Raya-ramananda. Probably remember this famous picture, which is in the first edition of Chaitanya Charitamrita. So that form of Shyama Sundar is before me, along with the golden doll. A flute rests upon your lips, and varieties of ecstatic emotions are causing your lotus eyes to restlessly rove about. After seeing your Swarupa in this manner, a most astonishing bhava awoke within my heart. O Prabhu, please abandon your deception and explain the factual cause of this. So, Prabhu kahe Krishna tomar gada prema hoy, premar svabhava, hey janil nishchay. Mahaprabhu said, you're Mahabhagavat. That's why you see Radha and Krishna everywhere, there's no harm. Yes. Yes. So he didn't want to accept. You possess an exceedingly deep love for Krishna. That is the nature of Mahabhagavat. Sarva bhuteshu yapashyed bhagavad bhavamatmanaha bhutani bhagavatyatmanyeshu bhagavatottamaha. Yes, and Srimad Bhagavatam. Maharaj Nimi hears from the 9 Gendras about who is Mahabhagavat, one who sees his Ishtadev, his Bhagavan, his Lord, in every living being's heart, and he sees that particular living being in a very particular relationship with Bhagavan. So he is Mahabhagavat. So Mahaprabhu called Raya-ramananda Mahabhagavat. So you see, in the same way as the gopis were seeing Krishna everywhere in separation. So, quotation here. Mahaprabhu continued, My dear Ramananda, you have great prema for Radha and Krishna within your heart, and therefore you see them manifested everywhere. Hearing this, Raya-ramananda replied, My dear Lord, please give up all this cleverness. Who can say to Krishna, give up your cleverness? Vishaka can do. Do not conceal your real form from me. In order to taste rasa, you have assumed the ecstasy and bodily complexion of Shri Radhika. Savoring prema is your supremely confidential business. Automatically you have also filled these three worlds with prema. You have come here to deliver me. Why then are you still acting with cunning? What is this behavior of yours? After hearing Raya-ramananda's statements, Mahaprabhu laughed and revealed his Svarupa. He reveals his Svarupa. So Raya-ramananda started noticing something, and he was having doubt. So first he got a spurti. Then he asked Mahaprabhu, what is this? Mahaprabhu said, no, you are Mahabhagavat. You saw it in your heart. You see it everywhere. But Raya-ramananda said, no, stop cheating. And Mahaprabhu revealed this Svarupa. What was the nature of that Svarupa? It was the combined form of the personification and king of the amorous mellows, Sringara Rasaraja. Shri Krishna together with the personification of Mahabhav, Srimati Radhika. So that was manifestation of Rasaraj Mahabhav. Rasaraj, Krishna, the king of Rasa. The Mahabhava, Swarupini, Srimati Radhika, personification of sweetest prema, Mahabhava.
Will that, because I'm thinking about, for example, what Srila Swami Prabhupada was, his sadhana, his meditation, and when you explaining this, it brought me in my memory that picture that Srila Prabhupada will worship, where it's Radha and Krishna like holding together, dancing together, like they are so together that it's mixed, like one leg is in one side, the other leg is in the other.
Picture she was having? I don't know, but really?
Yeah. The devotee says that Srila Prabhupada will always have that picture with him wherever he goes. And apart from all the temple programs, he always will go to his room and do some puja to that picture and say, this is my Ishta.
Yeah, because he's in the mood of Subal.
Yeah.
And Subal is so much Srimati Radhika's side, on Srimati Radhika's side. Madhura Bhava Bhavita. That's the essence. And therefore, Priya Narmasakas are in the wake of Madhurya so much. Who else can, amongst Krishna's friends, who else can exchange clothes with Radhika? No one. Subal, Abhay Charan Saka also is like that. So there's no surprise. So Rasika Vaishnavas understand. When Pujapad Damodar Maharaj told Didi, I read that Sridhar Maharaj disclosed this Swarupa Abhay Charan Saka, Didi smiled and said, I knew about that. So Sringara Rasaraj Mahabhava. Srimati Radhika upon seeing this unprecedented form, Ramananda Raya lost consciousness due to excessive transcendental bliss and fell to the ground. With a touch of his lotus hand, Mahaprabhu revived him. Upon regaining consciousness and again seeing his sannyasi form, Ramananda Raya became exceedingly astonished. After embracing and pacifying Ramananda Raya, Mahaprabhu said, Raya, apart from you, no one else can see this form. See what exclusive position has Raya Ramananda, one of the 3.5. But especially him, not even Swarup Damodar. Swarup Damodar could experience many other things. But each confidential associate has specific features. But Raya Ramananda, in this sense, he is the highest. No one else, Mahaprabhu saying himself. I revealed that to no one else. Sriman Mahaprabhu again said, you know everything concerning my internal identity and the truth of my ambrosial activities. Therefore, I have shown my special form to you. Actually, my complexion is not golden, but by the touch of the body of Srimati Radhika, it has become golden, and apart from the son of the king of Vrindavan, Rajendra Nandan Krishna, she never touches another person. So how Vishaka is close to Srimati Radhika, you can guess from here. I am able to taste my own sweetness by making my mind and soul one with the mood of Srimati Radhika. Before you, I am not able to conceal anything about my true identity. Here we go. Before Vishaka, how could Krishna hide? This is like scan, X-rays. He could not escape. I definitely tried to conceal myself from you, but because of the extremely powerful nature of your prema, X-rays, I was unable to succeed in this. You have understood my internal form, you know who I am. Mahaprabhu gave his approval stamp. Sriman Mahaprabhu said, "O Ramananda Rai, please keep my actual identity, the axiomatic truths, and what I have shown to you secret. Do not reveal them to anyone. People may laugh since I always act like a madman. Actually, I am a madman, and you are also a madman. Therefore, both of us are on the same platform." Here we go. Spiritual madness. We have to be ready, you know. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in Madhurya Kadambini describes the symptoms of devotees on levels of ruchi, asakti, you know. That's already madness. People who are in this society, from a social point of view, they cannot understand what are those devotees about. Moralists, remember, moralists call him sentimental, I don't remember exactly, but different kinds of people. The supporters of Varnashrama,
sentimental mongers,
yes, etc., etc., calling him what, deviant, etc., etc. Crazy. But here madness becomes highest. That's what, not for ordinary people. Thakuraji made it happen, you know. I was so much waiting for senior devotees. What we were discussing yesterday, day before, okay, was still okay, but yesterday and this morning was the highest parts. Therefore I'm not advertising this recordings on YouTube also too much. Those who want, they will watch. So Sriman Mahaprabhu spent 10 nights like this with Ramananda Rai, happily discussing topics of Krishna. The pastimes in Vrindavan are very confidential. They described these pastimes at great length, but they still could not exhaust the subject matter. Consider a person who digs and extracts from a mine many varieties of valuable substances such as copper, bell metal, silver, gold, jewels and wish-fulfilling jewels, and in the process he extracts items of increasing value one after another. Copper is not enough, silver is better, no. Gold is better, no. Jewels is better, etc., etc., etc. Exactly thus, by the method of questions and answers, Ramananda Rai and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu extracted higher and higher axiomatic truths. In the current verses, Kaviraj Goswami had given copper, bell metal, silver, etc. And so all the rasas were covered, Shanta to Madhurya, then features of Madhurya, then Radhika Prema, then Radha and Krishna Tattva, then relationship between Radha and Krishna, finally Prema Vilasa Vivarta, and the Anugati of the gopis, and questions and answers. So the next day Mahaprabhu begged Sri Ramananda Rai to permit him to leave. On departing, the Lord ordered him, "Give up all material business and go to Nilachal, Jagannath Puri. I will quickly finish touring the holy places and return there. The two of us shall remain together at Nilachal and happily pass our time discussing topics of Krishna." Saying this, Sriman Mahaprabhu then embraced Ramananda Rai, and after sending him back to his home, the Lord also left there in order to take rest. After rising from bed the next morning, Mahaprabhu had darshan of Hanuman, and after offering him obeisances, the Lord departed for South India to continue his tour of the holy places. Hanuman is taken darshan of before journey. After this, he arrived in Vidyapur, where all the residents followed different religious persuasions, but after seeing Mahaprabhu, they all gave up their philosophies and became Vaishnavas. On the other hand, Ramananda Rai was so overwhelmed in separation from the Lord, he gave up all material affairs and became completely immersed in meditation upon him. So, Kaviraj Goswami is continuing I briefly described the meeting between Raya-ramananda and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. No one can actually describe this meeting completely. It is even impossible for Bhagavan Sheshanaga, who is just in the bottom of the universe and is glorifying the Lord continuously, endlessly, but it's not possible for him also. The character and activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are just the condensed milk, and the character of Sri Ramananda Rai is like sweet sugar candy. Mixing them together produces a supremely sweet substance. The pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna are like adding camphor. One who is able to taste this substance is most fortunate. Anyone who even once receives this through the doorway of the ears becomes greatly greedy to relish it further still, and his ears will never want to stop hearing it. By hearing the talks between Raya-ramananda and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one becomes enlightened with the complete transcendental knowledge of Rasa Tattva, and he can achieve Prema Bhakti for the divine couple's lotus feet. The activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are supremely confidential, and this confidential knowledge is received only by submissive hearing. Do not allow your mind to make any type of speculation in this regard, and hear these talks with full faith. This part of Sriman Mahaprabhu's pastimes is most deep and confidential. One who has faith can achieve this, while it remains very far from those subject to faulty mundane logic. He who has accepted the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Acharya Prabhu as his all in all can attain this transcendental treasure of rasa. I, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, am offering millions of obeisance to the lotus feet of Ramananda Rai, from whose lotus mouth Sri Chaitanya Prabhu has spread the wealth of Prema Rasa. This pastime of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's meeting with Ramananda Rai has been described in accordance with the notebooks of Swarupa Damodara Goswami Kadachas. From the mouth of Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Kaviraj Goswami heard them. Desiring the mercy of the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Raghunath Goswamis, I, Krishnadas, narrate this Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Shri Raya-ramananda-samvad ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Shri Raya-ramananda Prabhu ki jai, Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki jai, Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Paramarajitam Gurupad Padma ki jai, Shri Chandrika Kunja ki jai, Shri London devotees ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Very, very grateful to you, endlessly grateful for this opportunity to discuss Raya-ramananda-samvad with you, which was meant for celebration of Shri Raya-ramananda's disappearance day, 5 classes in Raya-ramananda-samvad. Those fortunate souls who came, our new friends also, we got some very good impressions, so I'm very unqualified and fallen, but Srila Gurudev is engaging somehow in this service, Didi Maharaj engaging, so thank you for participation, for everything. I was more than happy to stay here. You are so much devoted to Shri Guru and Gauranga, and you've done a lot, all of you, all great devotees who are now following pure devotees in our Gurudev's line are very, very special. Not only our Gurudev's, all Guru Parampara's line, very, very special. I'm very grateful, proud to be able to share this with you, so I was speaking bravely these days. Exalted subjects, also Serbian devotees were asking me to broadcast, so
couple of Mexican devotees.
Devotees, yeah. Somehow the connection was not best. So
last night was.
Yeah, but not. I don't know why this is. Probably in the future I'll be doing from Facebook and maybe YouTube. YouTube I tried. It's not so good, but Facebook may be okay. But this Ustream was convenient till now. I know Russians were watching those broadcasts nicely. 15, 20 computers, like anything. This time some anyway, please forgive for all imperfections, what to do? We have to be tolerant. So, and please continue with practice and preaching of pure bhakti. This morning we called Pujapat Madhusudan Maharaj. He gave his blessings. I can play the recording for you. You also, before you run away. Okay. And Nitai Gaur Premanande Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyo Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo. So it's 7 to 11 and now dear Kripa Sindhu Prabhu is running away, so thanks to him also. He accompanied us to Glastonbury.
In fine style.
Yeah. In very fine style with a solar bicycle. Okay. Shri Radha Madan Mohan Ki Jai. Shri Radha Kunja Ki Jai. Oh, Chandrika Kunja. Gaur Premanande.